Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm Kristen Kurtz, your host. I pray this episode is like a holy IV of hope for your soul. Please help me welcome Barry Bevier to the show. I'm so excited to have him here today. We had a chance to talk recently, and I met him in a group that we're part of together. And I was just like, oh my gosh, would you be open to sharing your story and what it is that you're up to? So here he is today. So thankful to have him on. Before we get into your story, would you be open to sharing just a little bit about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And it's such a blessing to be here today.
Yeah,
We've had
I
some
know.
enjoyable conversations and
Yes.
yeah, I really hope that my message, what my experience will fall on somebody and be able to help them or give them
Yeah.
some awareness at least. So
Absolutely.
yeah, just go back to my background a little bit. I grew up on a farm in Michigan, loved science and cars, and decided to go to engineering school.
Okay.
Not knowing whether I was going to stay in engineering or go into engineering or stay
Yeah.
on the farm with dad. And, ideally it would have been nice if I could have gotten an engineering career close to
Yeah.
my folks, and that didn't happen.
Mm.
I ended up in Southern California for over 3 decades in a pretty successful engineering career.
Yeah.
Loved it. It was stressful. And um, so I was in, that was my background for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, Always healthy myself. My parents, my grandparents were healthy. I don't remember my folks being on any pharmaceuticals.
Oh, that's great.
My
That's
mom,
unusual.
yeah, it is. My mom struggled with depression, so from time to time she'd be on an antidepressant or treated for that. And I don't remember my grandparents having any health issues.
Okay. That's
And
amazing.
so, and this will, what I'm saying here will make sense in a minute.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what pharmaceuticals were all about
Yeah.
or the side effects they can have.
Hmm.
Um, I married a wonderful woman. I think God really brought us together after both of us having marriages that failed. And she had been diagnosed with lupus about 10 years before we married
Okay.
and her symptoms were rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia. She was being treated with steroids and painkillers. And at one point, she was prescribed 2,400 milligrams of Motrin a day. That's 12 Advil. What's the
Oh,
recommended dose on the bottle? 200, but her doctor was advising it. So there were side effects. She had digestive issues that the doctors never really addressed. Today we'd call it leaky gut.
okay.
And she was doing okay. She was a little frail. She had problems from the side effects of the medications. I think she hid some of her discomfort
Oh,
uh, just to not affect the family. But I look at photographs when we first met and 5 years later, and she looked much more vibrant. So she was doing all right.
yeah.
Fast forward to 2010. So now she's had the disease for 20 years
Okay.
and her health started to decline very rapidly.
Hmm.
And she was a little stubborn. She was supposed to be going into the doctor every 3 or 4 months for blood work to kind of see how all the organs are functioning because they were concerned about the side effects of the pharmaceuticals on her liver and kidney. Um,
Hmm.
Eventually, she did get to the doctor. They diagnosed her with stage 3 liver disease, almost cirrhosis. Her kidneys weren't functioning properly, and she was admitted to the hospital. There was an error in a procedure that caused some other problems.
Hmm.
Fast forward without all the details, she
Yeah.
passed away when she was 46
Oh my
of a
gosh.
brain hemorrhage
Hmm.
after being in and out of the hospital over a 10-week period.
Oh my gosh.
And so, the girls at that time, her daughters that were 2 and 4 when we met, were 15 and 17.
Yeah.
And it was a tough time. And it was, my faith in God that got me through. And, you know, I looked at it from the standpoint of she's out of pain and she's in a much better place.
Yeah.
And I just really felt blessed. I said this at her memorial is I preferred to have been with her for 12 years and lost her suddenly than to have never met her at all because she
Oh,
gave me
oh,
two wonderful daughters.
yeah.
Um, she changed my life.
Oh,
And so, that's, and looking for the silver lining in a
yeah.
cloud has kind of always been part of my attitude.
That's
Um,
amazing that
and
you could still see that silver lining through that. It's very.
yeah, I mean, I look for the opportunity in a bad situation.
Mm,
Um, when we met, I owned my own company, and keeping the stress low in the household
mm,
was necessary because stress triggers her immune reactions and triggers her lupus. So 3 years after we were married, I was owner in my own business. It was expanding. I
yeah.
was traveling a lot of stress. We decided that I'd leave my company, go work for another company doing the same thing. And
Okay.
that helped for a while.
Okay.
Uh, and um, um, what happened was the company I went to work for was doing some reorganizing.
Mm.
And a few weeks before she was hospitalized, me and everybody else in our group was let go.
Oh my word.
I looked at that as a disaster
Yeah.
for a few weeks. And then when she became hospitalized, it became a blessing because
Yeah.
we
That's
had enough money to get by for a while, and I was able to focus on taking care of her and the girls who weren't driving. Well, one was driving, but to just take care of the family and not
mm,
worry about anything else. And
yeah.
so it's just interesting how God
Like
blesses
timing.
us, and sometimes something happens and you have to wait a little bit before you realize why.
Mm,
And so was looking for I was done with engineering. I'm just tired of it
okay.
after over 30 years. And so had been digging into natural wellness. How can we avoid pharmaceuticals?
Mm,
The
mhm.
medical profession is pushing them. What can we do so we don't have to have them? Or if we are being prescribed, is there anything we can do to reduce that reliance on them? So I started looking into natural wellness, came across the documentary, the Truth About Cancer and other things like that,
Mhm.
and was looking for a source of income and dabbled in different things that, weren't my passion and weren't bringing in the income. And just one day after, really doing a lot of praying and looking into, what am I going to do when I grow up? Uh,
We have those we have those moments, don't we?
yeah. I felt a message from God that, your mission now is to inform people about what happened to you and provide the education and resources to help them avoid it.
Yes.
And
And when
so,
what age were you at that point? Do you mind me asking?
let's see, I was 58 when Linda, so 63.
So
I
63,
was in
you're
my early
asking,
60s.
you're
Yeah.
like, God, what am I going to be when I grow up?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
Uh, and so that was 2013 or so. And
Okay.
20, well, actually, it 20, probably a little later than that. It was 2013 when I decided I'm done with engineering.
Okay.
And so I just started studying even more. I was involved in a nutritional company that had some focus on brain health,
Mhm.
and a few events happened kind of all about the same time, and that was being involved in a ketone company with a focus on brain health,
Mhm.
meeting Daniel Amen through Rick Warren's The Daniel Plan,
Okay.
And then finding out that Junior Seau's sister, Mary Seau, had a foundation called the Mary Seau CTE Foundation.
Hmm.
And if you aren't aware of Junior Seau, was a professional football player, played for the San Diego Chargers. He was a linebacker, and a few years after he retired, he took his life from all of the traumatic brain injury he had as a football player.
Oh, weird.
What his sister was doing, and I had no idea that there are thousands of teens in the US that suffer from CTE, chronic traumatic encephalitis. So it's from a series of small brain injuries from sports that causes depression, brain fog. The kids will become depressed and kind of withdraw from their friends, and then they take their lives. And the parents don't notice it. They don't know, or they may notice it, but they don't know what to do about it. Um, and so she set up a foundation to raise awareness and funds to support the families that are going through that and research. And
Wow.
so those things really
They
triggered
are
me.
really all coming together
Yeah.
like
And
convergence.
as well as my peers, starting to joke about, oh, where did I put my keys? Or why did I walk into this room? Which really isn't a joking matter because that's the precursor to more serious memory loss and Alzheimer's. And then our parents' generation being
Mhm.
diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah, yeah,
And Dr. Amen is he's very profound in what he does, and I really identified with him because his first line of treatment in his practices, and he has clinics throughout the U.S.,
okay.
um, is to not use pharmaceuticals. So if
Yeah,
you can
I want you
imagine,
guys to, can you just stop there and say that again? Because I think sometime in our culture, turn the
Mhm,
TV on.
mhm.
I think we're the only country in the world that allows pharmaceutical commercials. Is that correct?
I
So it's
believe you, yeah.
it's literally being,
If
you're
not,
getting literally brainwashed. I'm just gonna say it, literally. Like we're talking about brains
no,
here.
I,
I want you to capture, guys, listen to what he's saying. How can we avoid pharmaceuticals? Okay,
I,
let's keep
I,
going.
exactly. So let me go back and elaborate on that just one moment.
Mhm.
It was sitting and watching TV with Linda in the evening after the girls had gone to bed that really developed my awareness of what pharmaceuticals actually do to us.
Yeah,
We'd be watching a movie or a show, commercial would come on, and she'd say, "Oh, that's one of the medications I'm taking." And it tells what it does, and then there's this long list of side effects,
yeah,
including death.
yeah,
And it's like, honey, really? We got to get you off of this crap.
right. I
And so
know.
that's what, started the whole dive into natural wellness for me.
Okay.
Um, and then yeah, so with Dr. Amen, what I when I learned about him and really identified with because of my anti-pharmaceutical
Yeah,
position
yeah,
was his first line of treatment is not pharmaceuticals. Can
yeah,
you imagine going into a doctor to going into a psychiatrist with depression and not being given a drug? With taking your child with 88 that's been diagnosed with ADHD to a psychiatrist and not be giving a drug?
right.
That's
I know.
him. He looks at blood work, extensive blood panels, looks at toxins,
Mhm.
looks at your diet. Most people don't get good sleep.
Mhm.
Most people are chronically dehydrated because they don't drink enough water. And
Yeah,
then most people, because of convenience, are eating processed foods with all sorts of chemicals in
yes,
it. And
yes.
products with wheat in it, not just bread and pasta, but snack products, all have wheat that all
Mhm.
has gluten.
Yeah.
Most of it has glyphosate in it. And I saw a post on Facebook today with a listing of all fast food and restaurant chains, and
Yeah.
they're different, and how much glyphosate was in their products because of the wheat that gets sprayed with glyphosate before it's harvested.
Yeah.
And
Would you mind for a moment? So those who are listening who've maybe never heard that word before, they're like, I don't know what that means. Could you just share a little bit of what it is and maybe what the side effects would be for somebody? Would you mind?
okay, sure. Okay, so glyphosate is a chemical in Roundup,
Mhm.
which is a weed spray that's, available at Home Depot for homeowners to use, but it's used widely in agriculture now to spray grains just before harvest so they ripen and dry out uniformly.
Mhm.
So it boosts their productivity. It helps them with the
Yeah.
timing with weather and a number of reasons. And I don't know how long that's been used. We used
Mhm.
weed sprays in the farm, when I was growing up in the 70s. Uh, Not that particular one, and we weren't using it on the crops before harvest.
Yeah.
So that part of agriculture has changed, but it's a major gut disruptor. It disturbs your gut bacteria, which is where our immune system is. And then, if it's a wheat product, it's typically got gluten in it, and
Mhm.
that is another gut disruptor. And so, 70-80% of our immune system comes from the gut. So
Mhm.
it's important to keep those chemicals and other toxins, like preservatives in our food. Sugar is another one. Sugar disturbs our gut bacteria.
Mhm.
Uh, and so, that's where nutrition is so important. And I know a lot of parts of the country you can't find organic food all the time.
Mhm.
And a lot of places it is more expensive, but in long-term health,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's worth it to avoid all of these chemicals.
Absolutely. So what would you suggest to somebody, maybe who doesn't have, ample access to organic foods? What would be some things that they could just even, kind of lean into a little bit to change things up to just be a little beneficial? Because we're reaching people around the world. So what would you suggest
Yeah.
to somebody?
Well, I get first if you can grow your own, if you can grow some of your vegetables, or if you have a yard where you can plant some fruit trees, if you can grow some of your own and grow it organically, that's one way. There is an organization that publishes a list. They call it the Dirty Dozen and
Yeah.
the Clean 15. And so that environmental working group. And so there's a list of fruits and vegetables. The Dirty Dozen they've been found to have the most chemicals and pesticides in them. And so avoid those if you can.
Yeah.
And then there's the clean 15 that aren't as bad. So don't worry about those so much. And then there's everything else in between. And then, so those are a couple things. Washing your fruits and vegetables, regardless of whether they're organic. If they're non-organic, they're going to have pesticides on them. And what I've found, and people do your own research, but a cup of baking soda in a gallon of cool water, soak and slosh around for 10 minutes, is supposed to do a pretty thorough job of removing pesticides. The same proportion of white vinegar uh, with for organic vegetables will remove bacteria.
Mm.
So if I don't have an organic produce, I'll do both.
Okay.
I'll do the baking soda solution to get the pesticides off. Then I'll do baking or the vinegar
Mhm.
to get rid of any other bacteria because even organic, it may not have the pesticides and the chemicals,
Yeah.
that the people that handle it, bacteria in the air, in processing and shipping can be there, and that may have parasites on it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of health problems from parasites in our bodies that we don't know are there.
Yeah. So true. Thank
Um,
you for that.
so yeah, so that and then if you do buy, canned or processed foods, there's and for personal care products, there's two apps out there.
Mhm.
Uh, one is um, one is Think Dirty,
Okay.
and it's for, let me just pull my phone up real quick to make sure I get the right one.
Yeah.
Um, Think Dirty is for like products like personal care and other products
Mhm.
that gives you an idea of how much chemicals in them that could be harmful. And then the Yucca app,
Mhm.
Yuka, Yucca.
Okay.
Uh, um, you can scan a barcode on a product, and like if you're going to buy some pasta,
Sure.
that I wouldn't do, but you can find out it, and it rates it 0 to 100 as to how healthy it is. So
Great. Awesome.
those are some things that you can do to clean up
Yeah.
your eating a little bit and help in that area.
So good. Well, I'll
And
find those apps and I'll link them in the show notes too. So if
okay,
you are
yeah.
listening, just head to
And
the show notes and you can find it there.
and then, during the summer, farmers markets.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to find organic produce there.
Mhm.
I know here in South Carolina where I am, I've been to several farmers markets, and unfortunately, there's a lot of fresh produce there. Not much of it is grown organically.
Exactly. Yep, I've noticed that too. Yeah, you have to, I think at one of our local farmers markets, there's one stand that's all organic.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow. And I don't think people are even paying attention to that
right.
most
E-
of the
e-
time. Most of the time,
exactly. Exactly.
right?
So.
Wow, this is so good. So, I want you, if you wouldn't mind, people might already be doing the math as far as timing and when you started stepping into this, your age, what year we're at now. But would you mind just sharing your age? Because those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can see like when I first met Barry, we were on a Zoom in a group, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? When he said his age, I'm like, I had no idea. So if you'd mind sharing your age. Because you are literally, I think you're aging backwards. And if you'd share like your business name, like it goes so well with your age.
Oh, thank you. I'm 74. And I think it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's several things.
Mhm.
Um, First of all, I have a youthful mindset. I lived in San Diego for many years, which is, really health minded as an overall population. Here in South Carolina, not so.
Right.
And it was, yeah, I mean, people in their 50s call themselves old. And it's like, that's crazy.
Right.
And, so many people are overweight because of the way they eat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, part of it is mindset. Part of it is genetics. My parents were healthy and I don't think looked their age compared to my friends' parents when I was younger. Um, I've never let myself get overweight. I've always been conscious of my weight, which is important. Uh, I've never consumed a lot of alcohol, done
Mhm.
recreational drugs or
Mhm.
pharmaceuticals, prescribed pharmaceuticals really as a minimum.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so I mentioned genetics.
Mhm.
And so I think it's a combination of an awareness, but I think the biggest thing is mindset. And, you know, part of the name of my company came from, that position. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so yeah, and just, having a purpose helps you keep younger. And
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about my purpose of getting the message out. And if I can help one family avoid what happened to us, I am blessed.
Yeah. So what would be like if you were to kind of scream from the rooftops, like what your purpose is, what would you say it is?
Um, Getting the message out, and it kind of starts with the biblical notion that our bodies are God's holy temple.
Yeah.
And in our discussion before we started recording, I mentioned Dr. Amen's Whole 4 program.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was teaching that at my church, and we named my small group Being Healthy is Worship. You know,
Good.
our bodies are God's holy temple, and taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the convenience of eating poorly and the sedentary life we've developed now that we have computers and a lot of our jobs are
Hmm.
on the computer, and we're doing so much with our phone in our casual in our recreational time or our free time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how do you stay active? Because as a business owner too, I've just noticed, I sit, when I'm doing this, I sit
yeah,
just
yeah.
because I kind of need to. I do have a stand-up desk. I have a walking pad. I have a really hard time sitting still, just in general.
Yeah,
But what would you say to somebody, let's just say they're working in a corporate job or they're kind of in a position, maybe they're a truck driver or they're, in some kind of position literally that is very challenging for them to get out of that position.
right.
What would you say to them to get moving?
You have to understand the importance of exercise
Mm,
and in being healthy and in longevity and brain health,
mhm,
and make it a priority. I'll
mhm.
admit that's exercise is one of my challenges. I
Is
think
it?
because of the way I eat, uh, my weight's pretty under control by just what I eat.
Yeah.
Um, but with me, when I get busy or tired, one
Mhm.
of the first things that I slack off on is exercise.
Is
And I
it?
know that's not good.
Yeah.
And a couple things that I've done is I've learned the importance of the lymphatic system in our body
Mhm.
and our vagus nerve.
Yeah.
And one thing that helps there is exercise, of course, but rebounding, getting vertical movement. And so I purchased, it would cost me $50 online,
Yeah.
a rebounder. So it's a mini trampoline and it's got a bar on it to hang on to. And
Okay.
even bouncing a couple minutes a day on that is good. But what I've started doing is at least 5 minutes of that a day.
Yeah.
And I have some light weights, 2, 3 pound weights, and
Mhm.
I'll do
Yeah.
this. I'll raise my arms up and I'll get my lymphatic system going. I'll get my pulse rate up, and so I start my day with that.
That's so
And
good.
then if I don't have time for anything else, at least I've done something.
Yeah.
And I've seen it several times. I haven't dug into how it's
Yeah.
documented. What I'm hearing, you hear you should walk 10,000 steps a day, right? For your aerobic.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is 10 minutes on a rebounder is worth 10,000 steps.
That's what I've heard similarly.
Yeah. And so that's an easy way. And you don't need to do that all in 10 minutes. You can do it you can do it 5 times a day,
Great.
work for a couple hours, get up and go rebound for
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I also have a vibration plate.
Yeah.
Vibration plate is very effective. The vibration amplifies your exercise. It improves your circulation. There's some data that shows it helps with stem cell release.
Mm-hmm.
It can improve bone density. So it helps in a lot of ways. And so I'll do push-ups and squats and exercises like that. Um, and attempt to get to the gym a couple times a week. But I've made it convenient to do
Yeah,
something. I've got a few free weights.
the
I can
key.
lift some weights. Anybody can do push-ups, squats, sit-ups,
Hmm.
running in place.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. I mean, I
Yeah.
also have a Labrador Retriever, and he's getting a little old, so he doesn't like to go as on long as walks
Yeah.
as he used
Yeah.
to. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Going out for a hike with a dog is good too, and it gets us out in nature.
That's so
Uh,
good. I love that. I love how you said, I think this is a key if you guys, haven't been in a routine for a long time. Like I've been in a routine for so many years that it's just part of like what I have to move. Like
mhm,
I think for me personally, like this is just how I operate. I can't work out at night. A lot of people might go to the gym after work, but I've found personally, it sounds like for you too, starting the day, like, I do my time with the word and, with God and
mhm, mhm,
then go to the gym. Like before I have got my blocked, I've got my calendar blocked. So I'm not working until I'm done with that part of the day.
mhm.
So the convenience aspect, if you don't have access to a gym, like Barry said, $50 rebounder. You might think like, oh my gosh, my joints can't handle this. I've heard that before from people, but you don't have to be like a child on a big trampoline. You literally are like keeping your feet, right? How would you explain it to them?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's not jumping, and
Yeah.
and and like Kristen said, it's not like a kid getting on, and going crazy, jumping, 2 or 3 feet in the air. No,
Right.
it's bouncing.
Yeah.
And I purchased one that has the bungee cord, the elastic cords instead of the springs. I think it makes it a little softer,
Yeah.
and it also isn't noisy. It's not squeaking
Yeah. Not
when
like the
you're
old
yeah,
school
right.
one.
But yeah, and if there's a lot of videos on YouTube you can
Yeah.
watch, but
Mhm.
all of them, I mean, you'll see some of the people jumping, but most of them
Yeah.
tell you don't need to take your feet off that mat.
Yeah.
And so you're getting the movement, and it really does get your heart rate going pretty
Yes,
quickly,
it does.
pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
And like you with the like low weights, I love having, maybe 2 pound weights. And if you
Yep,
literally just hold your arms up too, like, or do, some of these movements,
yep.
have my arms up. If you can't see me, I'm, doing some bicep curls and your low weights, high reps, jumping at the same time. Like, I don't know about you, Barry, but like I get done rebounding and I'm sweating for like an hour after. It's like my body is just
Yeah,
completely charged up, unlike other workouts that I would do.
yeah, exactly. And so, I guess I would emphasize realizing the importance of exercise. And
Mhm.
the standard is 30 minutes 5 days a week
Mhm.
of good aerobic, get some resistance in
Mhm.
there. And you don't need to do it 30 minutes consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, all at once. You
Yeah.
can you can
Right.
break it. You can break it up. And so get a few things that make it convenient. And
Mhm.
there's tons of videos on YouTube that show you how to do it.
Absolutely.
So saying I don't know how to do that is no excuse. Not knowing where to buy the equipment is no excuse because it's everywhere.
Exactly. So good. Well, what are you up to these days then? And how are you walking alongside people? Because I know that you absolutely are, and I love what you're doing. So how can people, come alongside you, and how are you helping people these days?
I'm expanding how I'm getting the message out. And looking for not looking but working on putting together some programs, some webinars or workshops
Yeah.
that people can get involved in. And I need to monetize it as well. Right now, I just share what I know about brain health and wellness with
Yeah.
people, and I work with a couple supplement companies. So I'm, getting the message out on social media a little more.
Yeah.
Um, June is Alzheimer's Awareness Month.
Mhm.
And if you find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you'll see a series of, it'll be 12 posts called Bright Minds. And that's about 11 factors that affect our brain health. So Bright Minds is an acronym. B means blood flow, R is retirement considerations, I is inflammation, uh, G is genetics. And so uh, look at those posts and you can see what I'm doing there. I've also been just celebrating my year anniversary with a radio program on WDRBmedia.com.
Yeah.
Right now, we're airing Wednesdays at 5:15 Eastern, and soon that will be expanded to a longer show at a different time.
Okay.
And I don't have that information yet.
Yeah.
We're working on getting all the
Okay.
logistics for that together, and so the radio show and just through networking, how we met.
Yeah.
Uh, and so getting, working harder to get the message out and just, being determined that, it's really important to make people aware. Once
Mhm.
they're aware, then it's their choice and there's nothing I can do about it. But if I
Yeah.
can do all I am able to get my message out,
Mhm.
then that's the important thing. And then I mentioned I'm working with the medicinal mushroom company that really the research for our products goes back to the 70s with
Mhm.
lab animals and cancer at about 7 universities across the globe.
Mhm.
And in 2010, the scientists who collaborated with all these universities, brought together in a commercial operation. And so we had the research on mushrooms and cancer. And we've found through additional research and just, things that happen anecdotally when people take
Mhm.
them,
Mhm.
that they're effective with antibiotic resistant infections like
Mhm.
Lyme and sepsis and MRSA,
Wow.
that they help with neurologic disorders like MS and ALS and Parkinson's.
Mhm.
Um, Even bone density. As an example is a lady in her 80s had a hip replacement.
Okay.
And there had been some bone density, scans and everything beforehand. And
Mhm.
after the surgery, she got sepsis. Well, her doctor knew about the mushrooms. She took the mushrooms and it took care of the sepsis.
Wow.
And then in subsequent bone scans, he found that her bone density was much more than before. So this
Amazing.
was something we didn't know about. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so much that a
Wow.
natural, God-given plant
Yeah.
does for us that we don't realize. And I
Right.
really think, science will never discover everything that these mushrooms can do. Uh,
Well,
and
and can I stop for 1 second?
yeah,
Because let's just pretend this is commercial. What are the side effects?
um, your oxygen level increases by up to 30%. You sleep better. You have more energy.
Okay.
Uh, you may, I can't say this.
Yeah. But they're not like the regular
Yeah.
commercials where they're like, you
Oh,
might die, your bladder will
yeah.
fall out, your legs will fall off, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Not going to happen.
yeah, yeah. The
This
side
is a
effects,
positive opposite
this, yes, exactly. The side effects are
or
positive.
positive. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want
And
to make sure we
then,
capture that.
yeah. And then the other thing, nutrition is so important in what I'm doing with brain health.
Hmm.
And so the new nutrition company that I'm with, and I'm really excited about it because it's so biblical. It's all about olives. Olive and olive oil has been around for
Hmm.
thousands of years.
Yeah.
And a company, I just happen to know the founders from a previous involvement with them,
Mhm.
and they have taken the olive. plant
Mhm.
and explored what other ingredients are in extracts from the leaf and the pulp of the olive, as well
Mm.
as the olive oil,
Okay.
and put together a series of products. And we just started in December,
Okay.
and my experience has been great. After a couple nights, I noticed I was sleeping better and had more energy.
It's positive
And
effects.
and someone at my age usually gets up during the night to go to the
Okay.
bathroom, and I noticed that that didn't happen quite as often, and when it did, I would fall asleep quicker.
Oh, that's great.
Uh, and
Huge.
then I have osteoarthritis in my knees. When I was younger, I played in marching bands for 8 years, and we practiced on asphalt surfaces. And then I played racket sports for many years. I beat the cartilage out.
Wow.
Um, a couple days, probably about 3 or 4 days, I started noticing my stiffness and discomfort diminishing.
Wow.
And so
Okay.
I've continued, and that it has made a big difference there.
Mhm.
And so that, if you go on Google or your favorite AI
Mhm.
and put in just about any health condition and extra virgin olive oil
Mhm.
or high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil,
Mhm.
and you'll see the results. There's a lot of research on brain health, on cancer, on infections, on just overall wellness because of the polyphenols that are in those products. So I'm really excited about that. I'm doing as much as I can to get the message out about those products.
Amazing.
And it's a network marketing company, so it's a
Yeah.
business opportunity if somebody would like to, help get the message out and earn a little income from it. Uh,
Awesome. I love
so
it.
yeah, so that's my focus
Mhm.
now. And I'm just, I'm having fun doing it. I've been here in South
Yeah.
Carolina for 3 years, and some uncertainty in whether this is my final landing spot or not. But I don't care because I'm meeting new people, and I'm doing what I believe God has got me up to doing right now. So
I would say if you could see Barry, if you could go over to YouTube and watch this later, but he's just a bright light, you guys. So before I
oh,
make
thank
sure
you.
we capture, like, what would be the best way for people to reach out to you if they want to contact you?
Um, LinkedIn is good. LinkedIn is easy. It's just do a search for Barry Bevier, Barrybiever. I think there's only one other one, and they capitalized the V.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and or when you post this, you can put my cell
Yep.
phone and email. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be sure to capture all of the contact information in the show notes. So if you didn't capture that as you're listening, head to the show notes. Definitely contact Barry. He's just a wealth of information. He's just a really awesome guy to talk to. So a lot of fun things that you can talk about with him. So before we wrap up today, I would love for you to just think of that one who's listening in today. Is there anything else that you'd want to speak over this person? Any words of wisdom, encouragement?
Um, just be open-minded and have a positive mindset.
Mm.
um the on my radio show for this month, to emphasize Alzheimer's, I did three misconceptions about memory loss and Alzheimer's. And one is it's something we're all going to get because it's just something that happens with age.
Yeah.
And that's not true because we know now,
Okay.
yeah, memory loss starts 20 or 30 years before there's any symptoms. So there's a
Mm.
lot you can do with your health style to change that.
Mm.
So having a mindset that you can be healthy,
Yeah.
and then taking the steps to do it. And
Mhm.
everything that I talk about and teach people is simple. It's really simple. Eat clean foods, get better sleep, drink enough water, exercise, take these supplements. Um, if you have a mental disorder or especially traumatic brain injury, get into hyperbaric oxygen. It's a marvelous therapy to help your overall wellness as well as your brain health.
Mhm.
And start just start doing something.
Yeah.
We aren't going to change everything all at once. That's just not our nature.
Mhm.
Um, and so start something today. Just
Mhm.
start drinking more water, going to bed earlier, getting off your computer for or your screen or your TV for an hour before you go to bed to have a little bit better sleep hygiene.
Mhm.
Uh, but it all starts with mindset that I can change my health, I can change my longevity. What happened to my parents doesn't need to happen to me. Even if it's genetic, you can reduce the potential. Um,
Good.
so yeah, that's the message. Be proactive. Take your health in your own hands.
So good. So good. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Barry, for coming on today. And thank you for being a brave voice who's setting many free. I'm going to close with the Hope Unlocked anchoring verse, which is May the God of hope fill you, fill you with all joy and peace now I'm losing it. Hold on. I'm going to start over because I know this verse. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope. And that's Romans 15:13. So thank you again. I will be back with another episode next week. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.